You're listening to Who Would Have Thought, a motivational podcast that shares self-improvement strategies that will help you set goals, create action plans, and succeed.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Who Would Have Thought with your host Raman. On today's episode, we'll be talking about self-reflection, or as I like to call it, know yourself. Self-reflection is very important for several reasons. It could be for self-improvement, self-development, or just knowing what kind of person you are and how you can become the person that you want to be. Self-reflection is you taking the time to think about your behavior, your thoughts, your attitude, your motivations, your desires, what drives you, what doesn't drive you, what helps you keep going, what are some of the things that you could improve about yourself, what are the things that you like about yourself versus what are the things that you don't like about yourself. Self-reflection really begins with you and your knowing yourself. I feel like we've been given self-assessments and evaluations our whole life, whether it be in school or in your job, having one-on-ones with your boss. We've been evaluated on our behavior and how we work to reflect on how we are doing in school or in work. However, you need to do the same self-assessment with yourself in your life and in your everyday behavior just by yourself to see where you are and what you could do better. So, although this podcast is called self-reflection, what I really want to talk about is self-deception. And what that is us lying to ourselves about who we are. Self-reflection really begins with you understanding yourself, but a lot of the times, scientifically or psychologically proven, we always do lie to ourselves about certain behaviors or certain traits about ourselves. A lot of people do portray themselves in a different manner in a professional environment or in their outside environment to maybe have a greater influence or show confidence, which I do think is great. I know there is the concept of fake it till you make it. So sometimes they do say that if you pretend to have confidence and you act like you do have confidence, then eventually you are going to have confidence because you are going to start believing that you are that person, which is absolutely great. And that's one positive way of having self-deception, but there are a lot of negative ways of having self-deception as well. And this is when we can't be honest with ourselves, whether it be that today you lied to somebody, or today you didn't really do something that you were so proud of, or you gossiped, or you had a fight with somebody and you are playing the victim and saying that you did what you did because the other person said this or did this or whatever the case is. But a lot of the times we have a hard time just looking at ourselves and be like, okay, it was my fault. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I shouldn't have done that. And maybe it was not the other person's fault and I need to take accountability for it. It's really hard to sometimes in different situations be able to be that honest with yourself and have that honest self-reflection. And as a result, most of the time we are doing self-deception with ourselves. There are a lot of reasons why, obviously only experimental reasons, why people say that why we do have self-deception. One is obviously to show confidence and show a different version of ourselves to others in a positive way. But in the negative way, it's so that we may not want to own up to our problem. We might not want to own up to take control of the situation, and maybe it might be running away from your problems. It might be easier to be like, okay, it wasn't my fault. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to say sorry, or I don't really care what people think, so it is what it is. So there are a lot of reasons why people might be running into those problems. But we do need to, whether you are ready to own up to those problems to other people or not, you need to be able to own up to it to yourself. It's definitely one thing to lie to other people, but it's a whole nother thing when you start lying to yourself, because self-deception does become a habit. A person can get very used to giving small white lies and then it turns into bigger lies, and just continuously giving excuses for the behavior and continuing to believe that that is an okay way to live their life. A key example of all this is, for example, when two people get married, the first deception or self-deception that is more of an ignorance is bliss that we have for ourselves is that we're going to live happily ever after and we're never going to get a divorce and everything is going to be great. But however, the divorce statistics say something else. And then the second self-deception is when people are going through a divorce, and we hear a lot of times people telling their version of the story of how the other person caused them to be in the place that they are, that now they're getting a divorce, rather than accepting accountability that they might be the reason for the divorce. So there is a lot of self-deception that we see there. So what I want to encourage everybody to do is start being more honest with yourself, whether you are doing something good or something bad. Especially when you are doing something bad, you need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say that, okay, today I lied to this person today, might have not been the best version of myself today. I could have done better. Okay, maybe I didn't do this because I was lazy, or maybe I just didn't want to own up. You have to be honest with yourself. Maybe you get anxiety when you have to tell the truth or own up to something or be put in a certain situation. You need to self-reflect why you act the way you do. If you are not able to have confrontation, if you're not able to be honest with other people, and you are not proud of the version of yourself you are, you need to really self-reflect and see what is causing you to be that way. What are the triggers that are causing you to not be the best version of yourself? Once you are able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I'm not happy with the version of myself that I am, that is the first step to becoming a better person. If you continue to lie to yourself and you do think that you have not done anything wrong and you are the best person and it's just all about you, not taking a step back to see, okay, there might be something wrong with me, or there might be something that I could work on or I could do better on, that's when you're really going to start improving as a person. And going back to when you're self-reflecting on good things, I feel like it's so easy to self-reflect on good things. Whenever you've done a good job, or you've helped somebody out, or you've done good on a test, or whatever the case is that you might have done good on, that we feel so proud and we want to tell people and we want to be like, oh my God, I did so good today and I felt so good. And it's that feeling that we love that we obviously are not going to have if you are doing the opposite. When you're not doing something that you're so proud of, you're running away from those feelings as well instead of coming up and facing them. And this is also not a good thing, because you're going to be constantly trying to block out negative thoughts that you have in your head instead of facing them. And guys, this will happen. I think to avoid self-deception, it does require a lot of self-discipline, because our brain basically does this thing called the cherry picking data, where our brain will embrace all the stuff that it likes and believes and excites it, and reject all the stuff that doesn't make us feel good and we don't want to face. And another thing we commonly hear is ignorance is bliss. So sometimes we have a certain belief that maybe some people are really good and can do no harm, or this person can never just do something negative, or I'm just not that type of person and I can never do anything bad. It's kind of a denial of reality. And it does happen, and it does require a lot of self-discipline. But as mentioned, it does all start with self-reflection. So really start to look at what type of person you are and what type of person you want to be. Sometimes the results are scary, and maybe that's what we run away from, because it is scary to tell ourselves that I could be better, or I could be a better friend, a better daughter, a better mother. Maybe I could do better and I'm not doing my best self. And that thought could be really scary, but it's okay. This is a journey for you, for your self-improvement and self-development, and only you can head the way or pave the road to where you want to go, to your destination. Thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Who Would Have Thought Podcast. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please follow the link in the bio to our anonymous form. See you next time.